advice.
Really good advice. And Olga is phoning in from Gdansk, Poland, where she works for the Poland Bureau. Okay, Tashween, go ahead.
Hi, I do audience development at BuzzFeed News, and I have been really enjoying these classes. I have always wanted to do art, but never had invested in it. And I would say that literally I've done lots of classes now, and every single time I'm scared in the beginning, and then it gets fun. So if you're feeling scared, just lean into it.
Yeah, definitely scared. Yep.
Lean into it. That's like the stage fright. It's a little nervous anticipation. It's because you're all smart and you don't know this process. So it's hard when you don't know the process, but I will try to walk you through the steps. Osiris, go ahead and introduce yourself. Any advice you've got for Jackie?
Hi, Jackie. Welcome to our circle. Now, I haven't always been good on being in circles, so the whole thing of circle and group is good for me. I'm much of a loner, actually. But as I said, I am a Vietnam era vet and proud to say so. I used to be embarrassed to say that. I am also a new author of a book called Nita. It is doing quite well. We can't seem to keep it in stock at Amazon, but I am not self-published. My publishing company, 33 1/3 Publishing, thanks to them for helping me tell my story. I am halfway into my second book, and I just got nominated, as I was telling Leah, since I've been gone, for the Nerval Sovereign Award. They looked for a mature, thank you, mature artist.
No, that means you have to be mature now.
Yes.
So they look for mature artists that have, like me, from the African diaspora, that have shown, like for years, proved that I can do stuff outside of what I was diagnosed with. So,
right.
New York, the back east people have really embraced me. I don't have such a good time here in the LA, but read my book and you'll find out why.
Oh, totally.
And I also host a 15-minute television show in its 6th year, and it's starting to get some recognition. The ladies with the Barnstall Arts Center wanted me. I did just real quick. I just did a show that I interviewed myself as an interviewer. So I made myself the interviewer of myself as the artist, and they thought it was really cool. And so they're promoting a clip of that with my art for the Barnstall Arts Center Fair right now, starting May 1st to July 31st. Thank you.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mira, go ahead, say hello. Say where you are, say who you work for, and say if you've got any. A lot of these people are fairly new, so they probably have good advice for you, Jackie.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Mia Wisniewski. I'm here in Michigan, US. I work for Thomson Reuters. I've been taking Leah's class since January end, and I always wanted to learn the art, but never had invested in it. So when we got an opportunity, I was really excited. My advice is keep coming back.
I will. Thank you.
That's the key.
That's the key.
Improve
Repeat.
every week.
Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
I'm not an artist, but I still enjoy every week. So keep coming back.
Right.
Sandra.
I work for Reuters in Washington on the editing desk. I'm a taster. And as you can see, I'm going through cancer. And I've been taking Leah's art classes for just over a year.
Mm-hmm. And all through the cancer.
And it's actually completely sustained me through my cancer. It kind of gave me something to look forward to, something to enjoy. I'm not working at the moment. All I'm doing is this, and it's keeping me happy and balanced and focused on the good things in life. So I highly recommend it.
Like cats.
Yeah, your cat is amazing.
My what?
Your cat.
Yes, her cats are amazing.
Let me show you. They're Bengals. So they're
because the pattern is gorgeous.
Yeah,
your head is amazing.
Oh,
they're mixed with the Asian leopard cat. It's a hybrid race. So, but they're very sweet. They just look wild.
They look crazy, and they kind of dominate the show.
They have a lot of
They
personality.
kind of dominate the show. You will hear them. Nina, do you have voice today?
Can you hear me today?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
today. So go
All
ahead
right.
and introduce yourself to Jackie, who's in the corner here in New, and tell her who you are, where you work, and what advice you would give her as a newbie.
Jackie, I'm Nina, and I'm in Toronto, Canada. And we just started a new lockdown with stay-at-home orders, so
Oh, great.
it just gets even better. And I work for Thomson Reuters, and I deal more with customer success. So primarily, I deal externally with customers and work on voice of the customer and AI projects. And with drawing, I love this because it makes the time go. And I know I get so frustrated because I think too much, right? So I'm hoping this gets me out. So I love Leah's instructions because I have to stop thinking. That's basically the bottom line.
Yes.
And I really appreciate the encouragement and never give up. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, the message. So I really appreciate that. And I like the community, and I really apologize about the voice and the.
Sometimes she has voice, sometimes she doesn't. We can't really figure out like
I'm
what
trying
it
to use
is.
my laptop, right, from Thomson Reuters, since we're allowed to, right? So, but maybe I'll try my phone next time or something. So
Who knows?
who knows? Okay.
Thanks, Nina. Janet, is that you? Could you just quickly say who you are, where you are, and any advice you have for our newbie Jackie here?
Oh, hi, Jackie. I'm Janet. I work for Thomson Reuters as well, and I live in Montreal's area in Canada.
I know.
And my advice is to enjoy the moment, I guess. Yeah.
You guys, that was great.
Yeah, thank you. I have to
All
say
right.
too, there's so many work people. There's a lot of writers here.
Yeah.
And it is really good advice because I think writers do tend to have a lot of words going around in their heads. I know I
Yes.
do. So it's nice to have the other side of the brain engaged.
I started as a journalist. I was a journalist for 10 years. And so you'll see mostly journalists and people connected to journalism on this platform. And what I found was when I learned how to draw and paint starting at age 30, that I got a new intellectual tool in my toolbox. That's what I found developed. The visual spatial has its own sense of logic. It's different than the verbal conceptual, which is what you're in when you're a writer. And you're going to learn the things you think, and verbal conceptual is always trying to tell you what's going on. So what you think is going on is not what's happening. So you need to learn this it's a language that you're learning. So yeah, we have a lot of writers on here. It's nice. Not just writers, but like people doing all kinds of things, but in publishing and like that kind of area. All right. So I'm sorry to take that time up, but I'm happy to go a little bit longer. I just wanted you guys to know it's important for me that you all know each other. Because this is about community as much as anything else. These classes will never get bigger than 30. If they do, we'll start scheduling extra classes so that people can come, but I just think it's important we get to know each other. All right, let's get started with today's lesson. So we're going to work, I wanted to work on a kind of a single subject displayed in several ways. So we're in still life for the next 3 weeks. You can do this in charcoal if you've got it, but for the beginners, I would recommend pencil. I'm probably going to do pencil today just to keep people going. If you have a ruler, I'm going to ask you to follow along with me as I create a grid. And for those of you, by the way, who want to draw freehand, I'm going to actually do a fair amount of talking about how to draw freehand, but I want to get the people who are using the grid started first. And I recommend you use a grid if you don't have time, if you don't have, what am I trying to say? Darn shot, it's like took all of my words out of me.
Experience.
Experience, thank you. If you don't have any experience. So if you have no ruler, you're going to do this. You're going to fold your paper, just a piece of printer paper. By the way, we're using A3 size printer paper. So if you are not working with A4. A4?
Yes.
Are you sure? Okay,
Yes.
well, the American size, the 8.5 by 11 inches.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you're not
A4.
working in it, oh, okay, sorry. God, I always get those mixed up too. I'm ditzy this morning. It's like insane. So if you don't have that, this is if you've got 9x12 sheet of paper, this will work. You can use 9x12, it should work fine. But if you have the European style paper, the bigger paper, you're going to want to do a 28 by 21.5 centimeter. You're going to give yourself, you want to cut your paper down to 28 centimeters by 21.5. So go ahead and do that using your ruler. If you do not have a ruler and you have a paper that's printer sized or 9x12 inches, close to printer size, you're going to start by folding it once and then folding it again like this, and then folding it 2 more times. So at the end, we have something that's kind of, I don't know, monocle size. It looks like this. And when you open it up, you've got your paper divided into 16 equal rectangles. So after that, you can take anything. You can take, I don't know, a book. Here's another piece of paper. You can take another piece of paper. I want you to create a straight edge following the folds and actually redraw the lines so that you can see them. If you're struggling to see them, just refold it. Sometimes it's tricky. Oh yeah, see this, guys. Sometimes it's tricky to see the fold. The folds will be there, but sometimes it's tricky to see them because you bend them left and right. So you can refold like this, redraw this. But for those of you who've got a ruler, what I'd like you to do is recreate this grid using the ruler on your paper while I do it on our source. So if you've got a ruler, so if you don't have a ruler, go ahead and do this and wait for the next instruction. And if you do, I'm going to show you on a blank piece of, so you want something that looks like this, right? You can see all the lines. So if you've got a ruler, you can go ahead and measure like I'm about to do. Here. Okay, so I'm going to do this with markers so it's very easy to see. You want to use your pencil. This is an inch ruler, but you can use centimeters as well. It's just as easy. So what you want to do is you want to find, notice I've got my ruler lined up on one edge, my 0, right, lined up here with 8.5, which is the length, the width of this. And I'm going to find the halfway point. So if you're using inches, the halfway point of a A4 printer paper is 4.25. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark that same. So notice I have to be careful that my ruler is lined up at the same place. It's funny, like I think as kids, we all use the ruler, but then as adults, we forget it's a tool like everything else. And then obviously you can line your ruler up between those 2 points and draw. This is essentially the first fold. And here is fold 2. So this is 11 inches, so 5.5. Or 14 if you're using centimeters, or a slightly different number if you're using 9x12. You get the drift. Don't get too caught up in the number. Think about the halfway point. Okay, and then each half is going to be divided in half. So half of 4.25 is 2.2. You notice I'm actually moving my ruler here. It's easier to read that from the beginning. 2.2, 2.2. So I like this process of gridding. This gridding process is good for beginners because it shows you where things are. Those of you who want to try and eyeball this, and I will show you, I'm going to show you, talk to you about construction today. So I'm actually going to draw this without the grid, but I'm going to get the people who are beginners kind of started on this with a grid because it really helps to see, and halfway points here. It helps to see kind of where things are in space. And it's the quickest, like, it's kind of like a quick and dirty trick to show you that where you think things are, they aren't. And you know, how big you think things are is not really happening. Here we go. Okay. And do you have a copy of this on your, in black and white, in a more clear way on your thread? I'm going to sketch in our first lines to draw. So I want you to think What I like about this, yeah, we're going to do it like that. What I like about this is that we've got subject. I'm going to bring this in too. What I like about this is that we've got single apricots. We've got some that are partially secluded by the fabric. So if you want to get into the fabric, you can totally do that. And then we've got a bunch of apricots in a bowl with an apricot in front. So the question kind of becomes, how do I deal with this, right? So if you're using your grid, you're going to start and literally giving yourself some dots and trying to follow the lines down to draw these outer shapes first. Okay. So here, let me pull this down a little bit. This should be more down like this. This should be more like that. There we go. Right? So if you can see this, so those of you who are working with the grid, you'll start by just drawing these outer shapes. So notice that in some places, the apricot, this is like one subject, right? And actually, because this guy kind of sits in front, I'm treating it as one big subject. So you're going to start by getting all of the things out, getting these shapes all sketched in. After that, I will show you the next set of steps you're going to copy. So go ahead, those of you who are going to be working that way. Those of you who want to try and like eyeball this, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. We've got like this subject, right, which is the sort of big bowl. So it's a good idea to locate here where you think that big bowl is from the top to the bottom here. So top to the bottom, I'm kind of guessing here. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark out that, and I'm going to go down here to see, oh, what is, if I were to go down one area, what is the same length of space, right? That vertical space, what's in front? And I can see that actually both these apricots are in front. In fact, if you can see from here to here, I know that my apricots will be, so you can make this a little bit bigger or smaller than what's happening here. But the most important thing is that once you've established this, you want to come down here and mark this, because that's where this happens, right? That's where your apricot. So you know that nothing is getting bigger than this. You'll want to find out how wide your apricot bowl is, and it's pretty much from the top to the bottom. Maybe it's really hard to see what's happening over here. Yeah, it's a little bit wider across the widest point, but not much, as it is tall. So I can now come here and like try to mark out using that distance. I think this is about the widest point. I don't know if this is exactly in the right place. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm like finding points of where things are by establishing this first and then going in relation. And then from here, really, this first apricot is about halfway down. The size of this first apricot underneath. Yep. From here to here is about halfway. So this apricot will be end here. And then there'll be a little bit of space, right? And then this apricot ends here, kind of comes down a little bit. So you got it. So this apricot is going to be higher. So basically, we're just trying, and then this apricot over here, let's see. This should be lined up with, we're going to add this apricot later once we've got these guys in. So my next step would be, And by the way, people who are drawing using the grid, you just go ahead. Oh, let me send this a picture, send you a picture of this. So if you can't see it on the screen, you can see it better on the. Here, hold on. Here is our sort of first line. Did I get everything? Come on. Ugh. I'm going to move this down just a second. My second camera is in the way. Here, I'm going to send this again. So we've got the whole thing. So here's the whole thing. By the way, when you finish these, you're then going to start doing these green lines, these blue lines. Let's do blue. You're going to do some of the inside lines. Right, to get some of those inside shapes. And notice I'm not just doing the shapes of things. I'm doing darks and lights, big dark and light shapes as well. So you're going to want to start to add in these shapes. There's one more level of outer shape drawing you're going to do before we start talking about value. There we go. Okay. So for those who are trying to draw this, I'm going to see where's the halfway point. So the halfway point, if I'm coming here, I can see the halfway point is a little bit above the lip. So if I want to find the halfway point here, I'm going to find. So here's where the halfway point is. Well, it's about here. Nope, a little bit lower. So you see, it's always this thing of finding halfways, because in this case, then it doesn't matter what you're drawing, what size your drawing is, as long as you're getting the proportions okay. This halfway doesn't have to be the same size as your halfway, as long as it's halfway. So I can see that if I were to draw a line straight across like this, right? This part would be underneath. This part would be underneath. So I actually, look, I'm like actually giving myself that little line very lightly. And then I'm going to start coming across. And I know everything up here has to kind of match. Right? Like that. Notice it's a lot. Oops, I went too curved. Right. Kind of come down like this. I'm going to come over like that. Maybe a little bit more like this. So you see how much I'm erasing? You see how much I'm laying the line down and then looking at it to see if I get it right. And then this line indicates the very bottom of the bowl without the shadow. So I can see I can kind of get that bottom of the bowl in here. Same here, right? Looks like I need a more square. I need a dark, long, I need a straighter line here. Right, there's that. And then I can add in that little shadow that's kind of coming up like that. And now, because this apricot in front touches my shadow, I can lay that down. And I can also tell that this apricot shouldn't go further than here. So you see how I am constantly, for those of you who are kind of at this stage, do you see how I'm kind of constantly using one thing? So this apricot is smaller than I thought it would be, because I know it doesn't come further down than the halfway point from here to here. And I see that it lines up with here. And it actually, I need to bring, it needs to be a little bit wider. I need to bring it, because I can see that this side, yeah, there we go. Notice I'm often like squaring, instead of drawing a curved line, even though these apricots are very curved, I'm sort of breaking these circles out into blocky areas later. So those of you who are just doing this, once you get these shapes out, this red, are you doing this, you're going to add your blue lines in. Try to get them in the right places. Use the grid to help you. And go ahead and send me a picture as you're working on it. I want to get everybody else. So once I get this in, then I know there's like a little space in between here. I can see that this starts about here. So I know that my apricot, I wanted to be careful not to make my apricot too big. Yep. See, and then there's like a kind of a little curve up. And then from here, then I can put my other apricot. I want it paying attention to this space, the negative space, right? To help me get the shapes right. So there's kind of that's how you would do it if you're doing this, kind of trying to eyeball everything. Yeah, it looks pretty good. This should be bigger than this and this, because this is the thing that's closest to us. So this apricot, even though these are all the same size, this one's going to appear bigger on a two-dimensional plane. Right? So now I'm going to come back in here. I can see that I've got like this apricot coming off here, and that this one is, oops, this needs to come down a little bit more. This one kind of comes down and in. I can see that the shape of the bowl kind of comes up like an angle like this. So you see, as I start to put these pieces together, I'm paying attention to the little tiny shapes of apricot in between. Right? And I might adjust where this bowl goes. And I can also, this looks like it's in pretty good shape. I can also add in some of the reflections which are happening here. Actually, like that. Okay. So I'm going to stop here, let everybody catch up. Here's where I am. So I'm sorry, I saw Mira, you sent yours in. Let me take a look. Looking good, Diana, coming along. Mira, where is, I can't see your whole drawing. Can you take a different picture of it?
Sure.
Okay. Nina, this, so I want you to, okay, so Nina, look here. If you look at this shape that you've got, your negative space shape on this side, you're going to see that this tiny little triangle is much closer to the bottom of the square than up here, which is where you have it. So you have this thing going. You have that thing going. I'll show you with like a very light line. This is what you have going on that side. You need to bring that down so that there's just a tiny little envelope of space. There's also way too much space between this and this. So I think, Nina, you're struggling to actually see. I want you to, what I can see is that you're not really paying attention to where things are on the grid.
Okay.
So I want you to pay a little bit more attention to that. You've got this guy all the way off on the edge. So what you did was you used the edge here and you moved it all the way over. If you can see here, there's a red line that I want you to follow to complete that apricot, even though you can't see it. You can't like scoot something over. This takes up all of this square. So, and in fact, at this point, I'm going to, well, anyway, I'm not going to do it quite yet, but I want you to pay more attention to your shapes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. And I'm showing that looks pretty. What's good? I like seeing what's happening here. Good. Osiris, this is pretty good. Your Osiris, your pot is a little bit deep. If you, it's much narrower than you've got it. So if you want to nip it in a little bit, this shape is a bit more elongated and skinnier than how you have it. Otherwise, looks good. Tashween, that looks pretty good.
I'm having
Mira.
trouble figuring out. I can't figure out how to send it to you.
You have to just take a
I'm on
picture of it
WhatsApp.
on your phone.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay. And then, so what, I don't think you're on the thread, Jackie, because I don't see you.
Oh, is that,
Are you getting
how do I
pictures
get
of
on?
everybody's work?
It used to be on WhatsApp.
No.
You have
Are
to
you,
have
you
a
have
I'm
to
on
do it.
WhatsApp.
Maybe I sent you the wrong, I'm not seeing you here. Maybe I sent you the wrong thread.
Ah,
Can you, are you on it? Are you seeing people's stuff come up across?
no, I'm on
Then
WhatsApp,
you're not.
but I'm.
Then you're not in the right thread. Here, hold on. I'm going to email
Oh,
over you. I'm going to email over to you a new
thank
one.
you.
I might have
Thank
sent you
you.
the wrong one. That's possible. If I
Or
had
I
you
could
in
have.
my phone, I could just add you, but I don't. So here, hold on. I'm going to email over. I'm going to send over a new link.
Oh, hang on. I've got it.
Yep.
It didn't link properly the first time.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
So I'm there
So
now.
now you should, yeah. So you should, let's see. Yep, you're in. So you should take a picture here and just, you'll see a little camera icon. Just take a picture and send it across. Good job, you
Okay.
guys.
Thank you.
All right. So the next step after getting right these shapes in is to get, what direction is the light coming from? Tell me. You should be able to tell by looking.
The west side, the east side of the paper.
You mean like this? Yeah.
The eastern part, yeah, the east
No,
side.
the
I'm
west,
sorry.
the west part, the western
The west
part.
part.
Right.
That's what
So it's coming from this direction. And we can tell that because the apricots are all lightest here. Here, hold on. So you'll notice each apricot has a kind of light, a medium, and a dark part. There's a light, medium, and a dark part. These are reflections, by the way. They aren't the actual. I don't think you can see the apricot through the bowl. Looks like you can, but this is actually a reflection of this off of here. That's why one of the reasons this photo is so cool. You can see light, dark, light, dark. Up here, this part is light, this part is medium, and this part is dark. This part is light, this part is medium. And then we've got kind of a light. This is a little bit farther from the light, so it's a little bit more diffused, but this part is the lighter part. This is the medium, and this is the darker part. So remember that when we're dealing, here, I'm going to take a picture of this because that's not really easy to see. Here, hold on. Julia looking good. Jackie, not too bad. This is too big, Jackie. If you'll look here, you can see there's more space. Just cut this in.
Yep.
So you've got this going, or
Yep.
it's not quite like that. It's a little bit less extreme than that. You just need to cut it in a little bit on this side. Everything else looks like it's in pretty good shape. Yeah, and Mira's already getting started with the next phase of this assignment, right? So let me just talk about value for a second, and then all of you should be off and running. So value, if the value is the lightness or darkness of any color. In here, we're just looking at black and white and gray. So if one is white, right, just plain white, and 5 is a rich, beautiful dark. 2, 3, and 4 are they get gradually darker, right? This is a 2, so it's kind of a medium light. This is a 3, it's a medium. 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There are 5 shades of gray, right? So when you are coming in here, you're going to want to go to the darkest areas first. I would say there's very few 5s here. There's probably there's a lot of 4s. There's a 5 here. Oops, nope, that doesn't show up well. You want to darken the darkest areas. There's a 5 in here. It's kind of dark down here. There's 5 here. I'd say everything else, the other parts are 4s. 4s, 4s, 4s. And these are 3s. And this is a 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 1. Let's call this a 3, 2, maybe 1. And then with a little bit of dark, 3 and 5 down here. Right? So now your job is to go to the darkest areas first. Start with your 5s and darken them, and then add your 4s in. And then you can start shading. Then you can start adding in the lighter shades. Here, I'll take a picture of this little map, your little values map, so you can see it. Because this is what visual thinking is. It's just simply looking at light, medium, and dark shapes. So we start by doing the outlines of the things. And then we end by adding in our darks as we see it. And if you're struggling to see any part of this, there is, so see, I'm going in and I'm just darkening the darks, the darkest areas, the 5s. There's not that many. There's maybe a little bit of 5 in here. And you'll see on these apricots, the transition is a soft one. So you can draw in the lines if you want to. You can add these lines in if you want to, but you want to ultimately get rid of them. You don't want to have to see them. What we want is, this is a 5, which goes to a 4. You see how I'm kind of blending over that line, so we can see that it's a little bit darker here and that it transitions into a 4, which then transitions into a 3. So this has to be lighter than this, but darker. This has to be lighter than this, but darker than that. And what I want is not to see those lines. I want to see a kind of soft edge. So you can see I'm like, and really where we pay most attention to you might have to go back in and use your eraser a little bit. Or you might have to go back in and darken a little bit where one edge meets another. That's really how we see. So you see how I'm kind of going back and forth? This is your task today. And I would just leave your lights light if I were you. You don't have to shade them. If you want to, you can. So you see there's kind of a transition happening. From light to medium to dark. I think this is a little bit too dark. I'm using my finger to smudge. That's not a fantastic, honestly, it's probably not a great technique because you get finger oil on your drawings. So you want to like practice using your eraser and other tools where you can create a kind of blended effect. But here we go. There we go. So I kind of go from dark to medium to a lighter medium to light. So everywhere you see a shape. So the next thing I'm going to do, you know what the next thing I'm going to do is? I'm going to turn this upside down. So I want you to turn your drawings upside down and see if it's any easier to see the shapes. What you want to do is forget what it is you're drawing and just become focused on shape and darkness and light. So you guys go ahead and work. I am here. I'm also going to try and create just a little bit. I like this quiet though, so I'm trying to create a little bit of that. think you're going to find it easier to see the shapes and to really focus. Jackie, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I'm doing this for your own good. Everybody's going to tell you. You're going to spend a lot of time. Now, if you're using charcoal, it's going to be easier to create a blended edge, just as an FYI. By the way, there's kind of a four next to the, there's two layers of shadow. There's like kind of a 4 and then a 5. This is not a glass bowl, so you can't see through. The lights and darks that you're seeing on the reflection of the side of the bowl are actually these two reflecting, although it looks like it's kind of lined up exactly with this one on the top, but that's not what's actually happening. And for those of you who get super ambitious and you finish, you can go on and start doing the fabric like we did last week. So you can get into this business, right? If you finish your apricots, you can get into some of these crazy folds. Or if you want to keep working on this afterwards, right? There's all, this is one of the reasons I picked this, is I'm like, oh, this is a little bit like what was happening last week. And good job, by the way, everybody, doing this. So for those of you who are newer to this, what's happening here as you're starting to draw is you're starting to see things in the visual spatial way and not the verbal conceptual way. The verbal conceptual way is to think that this is an apricot, this is an apricot, this is an apricot, this is a bowl, this is an apricot, right? And what happens is when you do that, you have because to learn language, we had to associate pictures with, we have to associate pictures in your head with a word. You have an idea in your head, a sort of idealized apricot that's in your head that you think when you hear that word. And that's your verbal conceptual. But in this particular case, the apricots are, and so you'll try to kind of create you'll try to lay down an equal idea of an apricot across every apricot you see. However, these apricots are affected by several things. Number one, these ones, anything that's up the page or down, if you're looking at it upside down, are farther away from you, which means that although they are the same size in real life, they don't appear that way to us, right? So anything that's at the bottom and closer is bigger. So this apricot is bigger. This apricot is almost half the size of the bowl. Look at that. Literally, this apricot is half the size of the bowl and this apricot here. This apricot is bigger than this apricot here. So that's one thing that's happening. When you think about things in visual spatial terms, you have to move away from what it is and just look at shapes. Just look at dark and light shapes. So it helps to look upside down because you stop thinking about what the thing is and you start thinking a little bit more about the shapes, the darks and the lights. So visual spatial is not about necessarily what something is, because that can get in our way of being able to see it, to draw it. Visual spatial is about where is this thing in relation to me? And if things are closer, they're bigger. And if things, and where is this thing in relation to the light? So we know the light is coming from this direction, right? So as things go, if the light was coming from this direction, this would be a different looking set. So better not to think about what it is, better just to look at the dark and the light and the medium shapes. And I like to lay my medium shapes down first. I like to lay my medium shapes down first because, or sorry, my dark shapes first, because they help me decide, how to stage my my medium shapes. So this is darker and this is darker. So I know that whatever happens here is lighter than what's happening in my darkest areas. So I just find that that's like a quicker way of establishing. And you'll see we're doing something very similar when we work with watercolor. I'll stop talking and let you get back to your quiet time. Notice what happens. Like this is the area I've worked the most, and notice how much dimension this has compared to everything else. It's interesting. Can somebody say something? I need to know if my headphones are turned on or not.
Okay.
Thanks, Diana. Let's see. Nina, much better shapes. Do you see what happens when you're paying attention to shape? You see what happens? Much better. Good job, honey. You're good.
Yeah, it's hard to actually pay attention to the squares sometimes. I don't know why.
That's because you're trying to do something else. So you need to really, that's the only thing you need to do is pay attention to the squares.
Yeah. Well, and
And
then you
really-
turn it upside down, which makes it even harder, for me at least. Yeah.
No, it's not harder. It's easier because now you're paying attention. You're forced to pay attention to the squares. What's hard is that you're now being forced to pay attention to the squares or the rectangles. Really, that's what's hard. That's what's hard for this for you. But what you have to do is pay attention to the squares. You have to. You absolutely have to. You have no choice. And
Okay,
because
Leah,
yeah.
go ahead. In response to her question, I'm bipolar, and for bipolar people, I see everything upside down and the other way anyway. So when you do the square, it's confusing for me. I don't know, maybe that's her issue and she has never been diagnosed, but I see everything the opposite way. So when everybody does something the right way, mine goes the other way. So I have to always compensate and try to see things the way that everybody else sees them.
I got
That's
you.
what's frustrating about having a mental thing.
Right.
People don't understand that.
I totally get that. That's not what's happening with Nina. I can see what's happening with Nina. She's
Okay.
I can see it. It's not a backwards thing because it would show, her imagery would show up differently. She's just Nina's left brain and we need to get her into right brain.
Thank you.
You got it, Nina?
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, you're ignoring it because it's hard for you to not see what this thing is. It's hard for you to like, you're arguing. Your left brain is wanting to jump in and tell you what you're doing. And I'm like, you've got to get your left brain out of the equation. So you have to pay attention to the shapes. And by the way, these are rectangles. That might be part of the problem.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll figure it out. I'd have to spend more time like redoing a lot of them. I redid the glass that we did last week in charcoal.
Yeah. And then it comes more clear and then it becomes more clear.
Yeah. But yeah. I still need to keep going at it. So yeah, but it's helping.
Yeah. No, I can see it. I can see your improvement and I can see what happens. What happens is you get into a zone where you think this thing belongs over here and it just doesn't. Right. Actually, you know what I can see here so if it makes you feel better, I'm doing the same thing right now. I can see that this line, I have this line at the wrong angle and I can tell that because of this shape. So guess what? I'm changing this. Oh, gasp, right? The teacher as well. I am changing that shape. So these adjustments are always happening. So I'm doing it too. I guess my point is I do it too, even though I am also, I've been doing this a long time. I don't get these. I have a better eye because I've now been spending enough time, drawing that like I kind of know how I have a better sense of where things take up visual space. But you notice I'm making a lot of mistakes too. So it's really about paying acute attention, and I can see it because it's upside down. So now, it's a little bit better. There we go. And that means I need to change this line. So can you see that? I'm like, I can see. I'm always adjusting things. And drawing things with these outer shapes first makes it easier to adjust because things are basically in the right place. So if they aren't, there we go. That's better. So sometimes it's the line next to the line. There we go. That's even better. What I'm very attuned to, and what Nina, you will eventually be attuned to, and everybody who does this will be eventually attuned to, is I'm paying attention not just to this line, but also to this line and the shape in between and the shape over here, which you get to have, right? I'm paying attention to all these things equally. This has to match up. This should match up. That should match up. You see what I'm saying? All of those things have to match up. And I get better at seeing that using all of this, going, okay, it's not just this line, it's also what's happening over here and what's happening here. It's all about shapes next to shape. It's like a puzzle. Mira, that's looking great, by the way. Good job. So Mira has come a long way in this, considering. All right, Olga, let's see. Holding it upside down. This one's too, let me check. Looking, not too bad. This one's too big, honey.
Hmm?
This one's too big.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Can you see that?
Yeah, I
So
see
you
it
can
now.
just go in and cut it right. So remember,
Yeah, it
and
looks like it's jumping from the ball, so it should be like smaller.
yep,
Mhm.
yep. And pay a little bit. It's just looking pretty good. This, I like this shape. Pay a little bit more. Your bowl extends out just a look at the shape of your bowl. I think you're going to see, you have to do a little correction like I did, not too much, but a little bit, but this is looking great. So, and by the way, you can totally paint if you want to. You can see Olga's painting because painting is connected to drawing, right? If we can't, well, if you're trying to render something, every painting where you're trying to render something as it is, as you see it, starts with a drawing. You can do that drawing in paint, or you can do that drawing with a pencil first. So, but she's doing the same thing in paint that we're trying to do with pencil or charcoal or whatever else it is. Jackie, good. Really good. So I'm seeing, let's see. Yeah, good. I see you're really seeing the shapes in here. Try a few vertical, try strokes going this direction with your pencil. Try strokes going this direction, not just this direction. Try going this direction. Although, Jackie, I like your, and there's a little bit darkness here. There's a little bit more darkness here. So now start looking at nuances in your gray, right? So now you can start going to more minute details. It's a little bit darker here, then it gets lighter, right? There's a little bit of darkness around the edge of this. And I don't really see here, this is from here on, it's pretty light, except for this little dark area. I don't see that transition here. So keep like now you get to go back over, but this looks good. As far as I'm concerned, you're on the way.
Should I switch pencils? I have an HB. Should I be?
HB will not help you. If you have a 2B,
Yep, I do.
you could try a 2B. Try a 2B. So the Bs, as you get bigger in number, get more lead in them. So they get darker. And the H's get harder. So they get like more fine, you make even more fine lines. So to get more darkness, you can, go over with your, try that. Fun. And what you do is you start with these bigger shapes and then you nuance down, right? And you start looking at, oh, is there a dark light? There's a nice little dark line here and then a light line and then a kind of medium shape. You can start to add more of those details once you get those base shapes in. But good job, rookie. Not too bad. I mean, better than you thought, right? Like well, at the beginning of class.
It looks like I drew something.
Turn it upside down for a moment just to keep yourself from.
Oh yeah, I've got it upside down.
Yeah. So, but sorry, turn it right side up so you can see how it looks. And you'll be like, hey, not bad. Not see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Not bad. Like not bad at all. Okay, keep going. Sorry, carry on. I gotta go check on my catties outside. Hold on. so cute. Hermes has been laying in the sun in his catio and he smells like he's been baking in the sun. You know, that sort of sun-baked smell. He's just like, ah. Yeah, take a moment to turn your subject right side, turn your drawing right side up and be like, dang, I kind of got that, right? So the disorientation of being upside down is that you're never sure, did I get it right? Nina, that might be another issue that you're having is you're like, it's not looking, your brain is telling you it's not finished because it's not looking the way you have this idea of this picture in your mind. So at various points, turn it right side up. Just to encourage yourself that you've got the right thing going. And Olga, I want you to mix, remember as you're mixing your shadows, you're going to mix a touch of blue in with your oranges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
And I'm looking at the picture just to see. By the way, everybody's doing a great job. I just want to say that right now. Janet, nice, beautiful. So Janet, once again, this is not, believe it or not, this is not a bowl. Just be careful. Although I see exactly that's what's happening here. Hold on. I think this is a reflective bowl. Let me go back to the beginning so I can show you the picture in person.
It is reflective, but it is like Pyrex, so it's this see-through bowl.
It is see-through. Oh, okay. So we are seeing through. All right. Never mind then. Don't mind me. Here, I'll bring this back so we can see it.
Is the bottom round?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. No roundness. It's pretty square. I mean, let's put it this way. Not as far. Oh, you're right. It is Pyrex. Okay, so we can see it. Oh, this is even better. This is reflective bowl. Sorry, guys. Here you go. I stopped to looking at that. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what is actually going on. The question is, do you see any roundness? And if you don't see any roundness, then you don't draw the roundness. Ah, there you go. And Nina, there you go. Much better. Better. There's kind of a medium shape of darkness. Oh, Cyrus, this is looking good. And Mira, that's looking really good. You're getting there. Right? So can you see how all these questions come to your mind that are totally useless in drawing? That doesn't, you know, you can and particularly when you're trying to look at something and figure what's going on, when your left brain is trying to go, what's happening here, right? Like what's happening here? It gets much harder to see. Oh yeah, and I can see some things I could do to change that. You start to ask yourself questions that confuse you and don't help. Yep, you're right. Never mind. Just keep on going. Janet, you're all good. You look good. See how I'm kind of adjusting my drawing with the shapes, connecting them more. This is nice. So we're also getting that practice of working with glass. Yeah. Good job, you guys. Let's see. Oh, nice mark making, Tashween. I'm looking to see if there's anything else. I get a little bit darker in here. I mean, you know, you can get, there are some kind of, you've got a little bit the rich darks here. Add a little bit of rich dark and here. Really nice. I love this mark making. This just makes me super happy.
Thank you.
Tashween, if you want to stop working on this and start working on, keep working on your water glass, or let me see.
Yeah.
You sent me a
Do you have
water
any,
glass.
does the water glass drawing look okay?
I'm looking. Hold on. Let me get back to that. It does look good. Yeah, it looks great. So go ahead and just start working on your water glass. That's beautiful. These are beautiful, you guys. Really good. Right. Come on over. You want to say hi? You gonna start causing some troubles? You want to start causing some troubles? Give me just a minute, you guys. I see troubles starting, and I can head them off. Oh, exciting. You want to go back out? Want to come see people? Come here. Come here, come here. Come here, come here, you big dope. Nope, nope. So cat-like. That one wants to see you guys all the time, but does not want to do. See. Oh, hi, Hannah. I loved meeting your team. Yeah, Hannah, it's good. You're getting there. Let's see. I love meeting your team yesterday. Okay,
They had
let's.
a good time. I
Good.
checked in with them afterwards.
They did. I thought they did great.
Yeah, they did.
And so did you, by the way. You did a great job yesterday. So I'm just looking here to see. Shapes look pretty good. So there's a second shape. The struggle that you're having, and it's partly my bad. Let me see if I can redraw this for you on this side. Is that really this ends, this comes in right here. Can you see that? So this comes right to the edge. There's no extra. I drew a little sort of extra line like that to show how these shapes are related to each other. So part of it is just bring this up to the edge of the bowl. This is the big line you have to be concerned with. So that's part of what's happening. Just get this shape here kind of right along the edge of the bowl. Right now, what you have going on, I'm going to show you is I want to do it with color. Right now, what you have going here, I'll do it with my drawing. What you have going on, oh yeah, a little bit of what I have going on. I can see it. So right now, what you have going on is this. Here. You've got this and this going on, right? And the bowl coming out like that. Really what's happening is this and that. So if you can erase this line, and then you'll see, yep. I think these will feel a little bit better to you. Also, this line, you've got this line, there's actually 3 shades here, 1, 2, and 3. And you've got kind of 2 and 3, but your 1 is kind of big. See, if you see the 1 shape, it's more like a half moon. Of course. So when we're nuancing, so Hannah, you're getting there. You're just like, let's see, I'm looking to see what other shapes there can be. You'll notice this shape is more up like this. You have it kind of, sorry, Hannah, I'm still looking at yours just to kind of help you. You've got this happening See? So bring up your shapes. Like this. These shapes look good. This shape looks good. 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 Good job. It is hard. It is hard. It's hard to get your brain out of left. Those of you who are having the most struggle are having the hardest time getting out of left brain. You're getting out, having the hardest time. You want to tell yourself where things are. You think you have to know what something is to draw it. And what I'm telling you is you don't have to know what it is. What you have to know are to be able to see the shapes, right? So that's where you're struggling. So note that in the struggle. Note, is it helpful for me to wonder, is this, you know, an apricot? Is this shade? Is this round? Is this bowl round? Is it helpful to know those things? Most of the time, not. Most of the time we come back to shape. What is that shape? What is that shape next to the shape? What is that shape next to the shape next to the shape? It's all shapes, man, all the time. That is right brain. And once you, come on, boo-boo. Come on, boo. Come here. All right. Hey, Sandra, hold on. I'm going to do an ad screen so you can see, and anybody else. Here we go. Hi, Auntie Sandra. Hello. I'm a big boy. I'm so big. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, Leah. I was on mute.
That's all right.
I was saying he looks very happy right now.
He is pretty happy. He's just been, I might take him back outside again. I just don't like to leave him in one place too long. It's very boring.
I'm sorry, I'm not showing you any apricots. I'm doing a fish.
That's okay. As you know, everybody, you can work on your own thing. Diana is working always on paintings. Olga is often painting what we're drawing. Some people finish fast and can keep working. So it's all right. Like, and some people need more than one session or need to do this twice. So all of those things are valid. Everybody has their own process for getting into this. The first time you get into it, it's kind of hard, although sort of delightful because it's so different. I think it's interesting because the intellectual process is, it's an intellectual process. It's just a different one than you're used to engaging. And Jackie, you will find it interesting to note that I have seen amongst the journalist writers that I've worked with, including myself, that once my drawing got better, my writing got a lot better. So there is a connection, but it's kind of, it's tangential. It's hard to put words on, but and I think it's partly because this clarifies and focuses. So it helps you break things apart in a different way so that you can see them. And it's all about construction. It's not just about this, it's about what's next to it, right? And what's over here and how big this is in relation to that. So there's a lot of elements to it that strangely apply to the writing process and probably a lot of other processes. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that since you started drawing. Are you looking at the world any differently? Yeah, I found I got a lot less judgmental. Because I stopped looking at things like, are they pretty or ugly or weird or strange or happy or I like it or I don't like it. It became a lot more analytical, like, oh, is the slope of his nose going this way or that way? Or look at the shadow on that, the shape of that shadow on the ground. Or, you know, it's a very like sort of non-judgy way of looking at things, which I think is very helpful. Because when you're judging, you're sometimes right and you're sometimes wrong. So I don't know. That's one thing I noticed. There is something that happens in the brain. As you're doing this, growing a new neural pathway. And as that neural path, as you're learning something and it's hard, you're engaging your entire brain to use it. Once you get good at something, you stop using your whole brain. Your brain creates shortcuts and deterioration happens. So literally the moment you master something, like it's no longer helpful to you, like it's the struggle that is helpful to your brain development. And so what happens is, as you grew this neural pathway, a lot like a stroke patient, right? Like a stroke patient who has to learn how to do everything again, right? Because that part of the brain has been damaged. As you exercise that new neural pathway, the whole brain is firing, and all of the brain sort of rewires to accommodate that new neural pathway. So that means you're actually literally growing your capacities as you do this. So the harder it is, maybe the better it is, because the more you're exercising your brain. And that little nervous anticipation is like, oh, it's like stage fright right before you go on to perform. Like, oh, I'm about to learn something. My brain is excited and it still doesn't know. And I'm like, right. Tajween, you're probably finding as you're getting more into it, it looks to me like you're getting more facile with this. It's getting easier. Like, yeah, like certain tasks. I'm not saying that it's easy. Drawing and painting is never easy. I've been painting for 20 years. It's not easy, but it's doable. I can see you sort of building up on skills. Am I right on that?
Yeah, today was the first day that I didn't do a grid.
Yeah. Yes. And I saw you following along with my construction notes. Yep, absolutely. We're going to spend just 2 more weeks with still life. And then I think we're going to, I forget, we're going to spend like a month with a different subject so that, and I'm going to try and time the subjects with things that we're doing in other classes too. So. Hey, boo, come on. Oh, stop that. What are you saying? Come on. No, don't jump over there. Come here. When Hermes was he spends a lot of time in the studio. When he was really small, he skidded across a whole palette full of oil paint, pink oil paint. And so he was like pink for a while. And it's interesting, although he occasionally will jump up on a palette, he really never does it. He really almost never does it again because he knows it's gross. Come here, buddy. Get your nose out of there. Hey, having said that, get your nose out of the paint water. Come here. Come on. No. Come on. Okay, I'm putting you outside again. I'll be right back. Okay. Mira, nice. Just looking to see if there's anything else you can do. Mira, why don't you try adding in some of the fabric shapes? So you can see some of these bigger shapes here.
Okay.
right? Darks and lights, and just treat them like any other shape. But if you remember correctly, there's a few more hard edges in here
Okay.
as
I
we
will
go
do
from
that.
light to dark. Go ahead and add some in. Very nice. Are you feeling it? I can see you're feeling it.
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah,
feeling
I
it.
can see you're starting to get there. Everybody is getting there. You're all getting there. This is really great. Notice that these are different. Notice that every one of these looks different, and that is the beauty of this process. Construction doesn't mean, my job is not to get you drawing like me. My job is to show you how to render correctly so that you can draw like you. As my friend Lotto said to me, when I talked about it at the beginning of class, he would say, Leah, copying is impossible. You will copy a master, you will not. I mean, it's good to copy, all like in classic, in Europe, everybody is kind of forced to copy masters, and there's a great education in that. But what you learn is you cannot draw like Michelangelo. You cannot draw like Renoir. You cannot. You'll be lucky if you can draw like you. And that's the goal, right? Always is that there's a way we hold the pencil and apply the brush. It's our own. It has to do sort of with how our mark making comes and how we relate to the tools. I switch tools around a lot, right? For some people, pencil is the best tool. For other people, the paintbrush is a better tool. Right? You like a bet, like you'll have tools in this, the charcoal. For some people, charcoal is a great tool, for some pastels, for some like watercolor, some acrylic, right? It goes on and on and on. There's all number of tools and manners of things that you're learning. And not all tools you will relate to equally, but you will get soon, you'll get sort of by going through the process that, whoa, there's a spider coming down here. Hello, spider. You will get that, like, there's a way you relate to your tools as you start to use them. That's not something I can teach you. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen on its own. Because I'm showing you how to measure, because measuring will not happen on its own. Nobody really likes, oh, Nina, see, there you go. Now you're getting there. I'm going to hold this upside down. Good. Excellent. Yep, this is beautiful. You got to, you might pull, actually, you know what? This is fine. I like it. Never mind. Notice it's a little bit dark down here. There's kind of this dark, it's kind of a triangle-ish shape. And it's kind of dark. I see you've got it here, but you'll want to shade in this like a 2 or a 3. Okay. Good job, Nina. Good job. You are.
Thank you.
Are you starting to feel it, what I'm talking about?
Yes, more than I did at 12:30. Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So I feel like you've been flirting around the edge of this understanding. And it's good that you tell me why certain things are hard for you, because that tells me what is going on, right? Like tells me that your left brain is kind of resisting this process, because the reason it is that it requires more focus, right? Like it actually requires more attention to detail in a different way, and it's exhausting. It's actually really tiring.
What I like about art, because I like to do things very quickly, is it slows me down. And
yeah.
And so I think initially when we started, I thought, wow, this is a long 2 hours, but now it's like, I can't believe how fast the time goes. And I feel like we just started 5 seconds ago.
I know, isn't that crazy? I know. You know, I was like you. I wanted to go fast through everything, and this just, well, now you are going fast, but you don't think you're going fast. You feel like you're going slow. You're not even thinking about fast or slow. You're just in the moment, because the task has to be hard enough to keep you focused. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said many times, the relaxation of art is not the relaxation of lying on a beach. That's not that kind of relaxing. You actually have to put yourself under a little pressure to like get to the relaxation of art. And that is, you have to be focused. It's a little more like meditation for anybody who's meditated. Actually, as we know, meditation is super hard. It's really hard. But that is, but meditation, like with that same kind of focus, you have to keep coming back to, right? We want to resist it, but we have to keep coming back to the tenets to keep a meditation working. It's the same with drawing. You have to keep going back to shape, 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 dark, light, medium, dark, light, medium, medium, light, medium, right? Like you have to keep bringing yourself back to that, to problem solve. And after a while, it's just, yes, in the moment of doing it as you're learning it, it's the whole, it's like, I'm imagining this is how it felt when we learned to read. I'm imagining this is what it felt like. When I watch a kid learn to read, it's a super struggle. You know, it's not like people, I have a student who claims that she knew how to read on her own. I think it's bullshit. I'm like, she's in her 70s. She like says stuff like that all the time. I'm like, you were not born knowing how to read. Everybody has to be taught how to read. You cannot learn to read on your own, but everybody has the capacity. And as you have the capacity, your mind just expands. I mean, if you want to think about this on a bigger scale, think about what it is to be human. What are the brain processes that started? So the first brain process that they can kind of locate is this capacity to evaluate. The primates that were the best at evaluating what somebody else was feeling. Empathy, really. Were the primates that whose brains began to like expand once they exercised that. So the person who was like, the being that was like, that person looks like they want to take my bananas, right? Can like take an action, right? Like that's an action that you can take or that person looks hungry. Maybe I'll share my bananas with them. I have enough bananas. Maybe you see all of those skills. That observation starts with a notification of what is happening. So imagine that's what built up to Shakespeare. That's what built up, like we build off of those brain processes, which as you feed them, ask you to do more. And your brain just keeps evolving and changing and desiring more and building questions off of the questions answered. But it all starts with empathy. So from that viewpoint, I mean, that's what it is to be human. Although a lot of humans don't act like that a lot of the time, like all the time, but like that is it. Like that is the sort of essential human brain characteristic, and probably animals too. We just don't know how to measure it. I like to think that my ongoing purely anecdotal scientific jibe is like beach noise to you guys as you're going forward. I'm not trying to distract you. I'm just trying to throw ideas out as you're working to understand what is happening to you and to understand why you would embrace the process. By the way, we've got about 15 minutes left.
Oh, wow. How did that happen?
I know, right? Let's see, Diana. Oh yeah, they're coming along. Everybody's coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my husband up in the corner there.
Oh, good. I was wondering about that because I did feel that compositionally, and I like it. And is he going to be looking towards you?
I don't know.
I think it would be a good idea for him to look towards your group, because then you're moving, like compositionally, you're moving things around, right? If he's looking this way, then we're directed off the canvas. But if he's looking this way, then we're directed to kind of come down and engage with the rest of the composition.
Oh, yep.
Mm-hmm. A family portrait of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to take time. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
It's so many frigging details.
Yes, that's all it is. So you see what Diana is doing? She's done this a long time and she knows this is a detail upon detail upon detail thing. That's what it is. It's all about every detail. Jackie, great work. Are you proud of yourself?
It's not as bad as I thought it could be.
You're doing good. You're doing good. See if you can get a little bit of, here, hold on, let me turn this the right side so I can look at it. See if you can get a slightly darker edge here, like a 5 in here.
Okay, like the
And
top apricot.
yeah, like the bottom, like this bottom of this, yeah, this top apricot. There's a little bit more,
Mhm.
and I'm looking to see. And then there's like there's a dark rim here. If you look at the original photo, you'll really see it better. There's like a dark edge followed by a light edge, followed by kind of a medium. And the more you can get that, and then also notice that this shadow has 2 layers. There's like this part is dark, but then this part is kind of there's an extra part that's sort of a 4
Okay,
that comes. So take a look at those. I think that you have time to do that.
great.
Yay, Toronto Bureau. Nina, you should have seen
Leah.
it. Yes,
I'll send you my fish.
sure.
I'm going to do them in watercolor.
Excellent. So you're doing the drawing now. This is great. This is great. Send me the source too. So Nina and Hannah are the ringleaders for Toronto. I can see
The
ringleaders.
sauce is kind of made up from composite of various fish. But
Okay.
I'll send you one picture of the fish.
Okay. So did I talk to you guys about this last week? Is that I was thinking about like maybe adding some different kinds of classes on instead of more like maybe, I don't know, a collage class or something. I don't know. I wondered if it might be fun to do some more kind of just different stuff. I feel like we have a lot of this very rigid, rigid, I mean, focused, drawing and painting what you see. But I'd like to add more stuff that's maybe a little bit more abstract-y, which I can't teach, but I can find other people to teach. So if there's anything, like I know somebody who knows how to make books out of household objects. I don't know. I thought that sounded kind of cool. And there's somebody else who can teach kind of, I don't know, collage.
Are you expecting us to quit our jobs and become students full time?
What I like to do is offer more options to get more people interested. That's all.
Yeah, I think collages or like scrapbooking or something with I don't know, with doing some abstract things is also very nice.
Right. I thought so too. So I'll see what I can do. I mean, it's really not my thing at all. So I'd have to find somebody who did it and did it well and took it seriously, because I struggle to. That's my bias.
Maybe some sculpturing or some things that you could also do.
Like clay would be fun.
Sculpturing is difficult online, but still it's nice to try this, and it helps to like painting people.
Absolutely. So I'll see what I could do. I will see what I can do. I'm looking. Let's see.
Olga can teach us how to do digital art.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Oh, fun, Sandra. This is going to be this is looking amazing.
These are fishes. This is a koi pond that's at the hospital where I go. And I don't always drop by to look at them, but I love stopping by to look at them.
They're very soothing. I can see that. This is wonderful.
Well,
So
I felt bad because they all came towards me. They obviously thought I was going to give them food.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is going to be great. This will be a great.
So painting. I made a composite.
I see what you did. That works for me. I like it.
And I looked at one upside down to have him in the other direction.
Yep, I love it. You got it.
I love it, Sandra.
It's great, Sandra. This is going to be
hopefully
great.
I'm not going to butch it up, but
give it.
I might steal that photo from you and try to make a painting. Is that
Okay,
Please, I
do
have
it.
several actually. I can give you several.
Yeah, send them across the thread. Maybe
Really?
we'll
They
do
are
one for
so
drawing.
beautiful.
They really
So
are.
these are the ones that I took recently, but every time I go to the hospital, I take photographs. So, I mean, actually not every time, but I have some from years past, so they'd be harder to. Let me send you these guys.
I like the idea, Sandra, of maybe you doing a series of these. So like
Oh, well,
you can,
I'll see how fun it is and whether I
Yeah,
watch it up. I saw a
exactly.
video on YouTube that made it look very easy.
Mhm. And I can help you. If I have the pictures, then I can help you with colors and mixing and values and all of that stuff. So that looks like fun.
Hold on, let me find the series of the originals. I love this fish. And actually one day there was a guy who was looking after them and he used to look after my pond too. He recognized me. I wouldn't have recognized him.
Mira, good job. Good job. Good job, honey. Great work.
I think those, Sandra, are just fantastic.
Yeah, they're
Really?
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'm
think
sending
Diana
them.
has been caught.
Yeah.
She's been caught by your fish. Instead of her catching the fish caught her.
Ugh. Hold on, I'm having trouble doing it from there. What date is this?
Wonderful. Jackie, what do you think? How'd it go today? I mean, we've got 10 minutes left. You've still got time, but what do you think?
I found the photograph and I've been working on the edges
details,
of the bowls.
right?
Yes.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
So I think here's the process as you want to understand it. We want to get to that edge of the bowl detail at the beginning, right? That's what our brain wants to do because that's what we see. And that's usually where dark and light spaces kind of join. But what we have to start with is these kind of bigger, blockier shapes and getting the bigger and the sort of bigger light and dark shapes in first. And then it's very easy to go in and just keep going into detail. Like you can go forever and ever on this. So I think it's more just sort of talking yourself through the structure. It makes sense if you think about it like building a table. Right? When you build a table with beautiful legs, you don't start by carving out a beautiful leg. You start by chopping like 4 blocks of wood that are the same size so that your table won't wobble. And then you chop another block of wood to go on top of your table. And then you can start adding more details. So we have to do the measuring and the shape building, the major shape building first. Once you get, but that's easier. Once you get into it, because it's easier to see. So once you get into that zone, then it's this kind of delightful experience of, well, when will this painting or drawing reveal itself? When is it going to look like a painting, a finished product? And that's kind of fun. Like there's a little mystery with that every time. So I guess you have to learn to live with your painting looking a little awkward before it, like 4 blocks of wood and a slab of wood looks kind of awkward as a table until you start adding the detail. But that if you add the detail second, it will reveal itself in time. It's very interesting. So tomorrow we have, there you go, Julia. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Great. Good job. More joy, more joy. So joyful. And then it'll kind of irritate you, right? Because you'll have spent 2 hours like working really hard on this drawing. And then somebody's going to look at you and say, oh, but it's so easy for you. And you'll be like, screw that noise. This was hard.
Struggle with what pencil to use and
Yeah.
my making feels.
Yes, well, because you're getting to that point where you can add that detail. You're getting your shapes down so that like you can, I would say, just remember that the darker the pencil, so if you go from a 2B to a 4B to a 6B or an 8B, there's more. So pencil is made up of this graphite substance, and then it's blended with something else and dried together to a binder to make it like stay together. And the more binder that's in it, the lighter the lead is, which means that it's going to have a different consistency, right? So the darker the graphite, the higher the number, the more graphite there is, and you'll actually see that, like, if you try to compare an 8B or line an 8B on top of a HB, they'll kind of fall off each other, right? They kind of fall away from each other. They don't blend together.
And we did the Lima. That's what I found, because I was using the wrong pencil in the wrong order, and then like
Right.
the eyes were really weird and shiny, and it was horrible.
Right. So yeah, you just got to learn how to like kind of, so I don't like to generally go, but you know, I'm more of a painter than a pencil drawer. If I was a pencil drawer, I'd probably develop pretty clear stages for using each of those pencil marks, right, for different layers. But I tend to not go bigger than, I tend to not go like darker than a 4H usually, 4B. Because after that, I find it like it lays funny with my HB. Or you might start with a 2B or something, like you might do all Bs, see what happens there. Then again, if you do the Bs, they're harder to erase. So that's just your balance. That's your balancing act. Yeah, but I think it's looking lovely. All right, we've got about, Tashween, gorgeous. Wait, are you painting?
Yeah.
All right, Tashween, that's great.
My watercolors, because
Oh my God. I know, Nina, right? It's so great. Oh my God, that's great. How fun. You're going to really love ink when we get to ink. Just a reminder, we'll be in watercolor until June, and then I'm going to move all the weekly classes, the ones during the business day. This class will continue being a beginning drawing class, so we'll continue to work on subjects in this way, although I may switch materials on you at various points. But starting in June, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the classes will switch to figure drawing, which might sound like overwhelming, but is actually kind of great, no matter what level you're at. If you've never drawn it before, a figure before, I think you're going to love it. And if you have done it, you're going to learn a lot, and we'll spend 2 months drawing the figure, which is pretty impossible. So don't worry, everybody's in the same boat. Like, no matter whether you've done it before or not, like there's no end to the challenge of it. So in a way, it's so challenging. I think that's why it's a great like subject to learn from. And then we'll go to faces, and then we're going to go to ink. And then we're going to spend a month in ink, the month of October in ink. And then we'll go to pastels in November, and then it's class choice in December. So this class, as I said, will stay beginning drawing, but I will probably at some point introduce ink and charcoal more fully. I'll send you guys a supply list before I do that officially and formally. I think you're going to like it. Anyway, let's stop. I'm going to remove the spotlight.
Leah, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
You know, when you, yesterday with Panda, when we put tape around the painting, how wide do you make it?
How wide? A half an inch from the edge of the paper, about half an inch.
Okay, that's what I tend to do.
Yeah. I like it. I like a skinny border, but then I'm working with a very particular type of, half an inch beyond. I think that looks nice. Okay. And then I have this half-inch tape, so I can just exactly tape it, right? It's a half an inch thick, so.
Perfect. What kind of tape do you use?
It's just artist tape. Scotch tape that's about the half the size of regular. It looks like this.
Because I find that some tears of paper and some it's okay.
Yeah, you'll get it from an art supply store. This is just called artist tape.
I've got this, it's a bit wider, but I kind of eyeball it.
Yeah.
There is also something called museum tape. That's fantastic.
That's really great.
What is it called?
Museum tape.
Okay, thank you.
This is called Pro Tapes and Specialties. Great work today, everybody. Jackie, welcome. I hope you'll join us again. Yes.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you can use up all of Brianne's extra classes. I'll go check and see how many she has left.
Yeah,
If you want.
I didn't keep count. I know we had some.
I know the computer does it. I'll be able to go back and check as soon as I get in after class. So great work as always, everybody. Just keep sending them across and keep in mind that there's going to be, Marie and I are cooking up a very special surprise for all students that we think you are going to love. It's going to allow you to engage in many different ways. With art during the week. So during the whole week, beyond our classes. So we're really stoked.
I liked that quiz, by the way, she did.
Yeah, it'll be more stuff like that, but put in a particular platform. All
By
right,
the
you
way,
guys.
sorry, Leah.
Oh,
I meant to say tomorrow I'm being taken to lunch, so I might be able to join the painting session afterwards.
and you can
just
jump into painting afterwards, whatever
Okay,
you're doing,
great.
because you'll be working on watercolor and we're working on
Yes,
that
exactly.
copy. So yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Some of you tomorrow, some of you next.
Yeah, I'll join tomorrow. I want to get.
Excellent. I
growth
see
is
lots of
efficient.
growth happen in this lesson. I saw a lot. So great work today. I appreciate how much you guys pushed yourselves, and your brain appreciates it too. So okay.
How do you know?
I definitely know, because it's good for your brain to push it. Push. All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Thanks, Leah. Bye, guys.